Captain Lee Daho stared at the screen in disbelief. The numbers made no sense. His coffee cup hung halfway to his lips, forgotten. Around him, the control room of Sentinel-9 hummed with its usual quiet rhythm. The space station floated at the edge of Earth's solar system, watching for dangers that never came. Until now. "Captain, you need to see this," Dr. Park Minji said. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook as she pointed at the sensor display. Something big just appeared. Daho set down his cup and moved to her station. The screen showed massive gravitational readings. Whatever had arrived was pulling space itself out of shape. He had seen ships enter the solar system before. Research vessels, trading craft, even the occasional tourist shuttle from Mars. This was different. This was a fleet. "How many ships?" he asked. Park's fingers danced across her keyboard. New data flooded the screen. Her face went pale. 200. Maybe more. They just came out of hyperspace at the system's edge. Sergeant Kim Junho looked up from his security console. His cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on the tactical display. "That's a military formation. Standard attack pattern. They're headed straight for Earth." Daho felt his stomach drop. Earth had been at peace for 60 years. The unified government had focused on building, not fighting. Their fleet was small, defensive. Nothing that could stop 200 warships. "Try to contact them," Daho ordered. Standard first contact protocols. Engineer Choi Subin was already working. Her hands flew over the communication controls, sending on all known frequencies. Universal greeting codes, even the old radio bands. She paused, listened, shook her head. Nothing. "They're not responding. They're not talking because they don't want to talk," Junho said. He pulled up military records on his screen. "I've seen this before in the war archives. Complete communication silence before an attack. It's psychological warfare. Makes the enemy panic." Daho watched the fleet move across his screens. They traveled in perfect formation. Each ship kept exact distance from the others. This was not a random group. This was an organized military force, and they were heading toward his home. "Identification?" he asked. Park shook her head. "The computer doesn't recognize their ship designs. They're not in any of our databases, but I'm picking up some radio chatter between their ships. It's encrypted, but I can hear the language underneath." She put it on speakers. Strange sounds filled the room. Clicks and whistles mixed with deep rumbling tones. It sounded nothing like any human language. Nothing like the few alien species Earth had met before. "That's Valorian," Park said suddenly. Her eyes went wide. "I've studied their language. They're an empire. They control hundreds of star systems. Captain, we're in serious trouble." Daho pulled up everything the station's computer had on the Valorian Empire. The information was limited. Earth was far from the Empire's territory, but what he read made his blood run cold. The Valorians had conquered every species they encountered. They took resources. They took planets. They left nothing behind but empty worlds. "How long until they reach Earth?" he asked. Junho ran the calculations. "At their current speed, 14 hours. 14 hours. Daho closed his eyes. Earth had no idea this fleet was coming. The planet's defense grid was designed to stop asteroids and small raiding parties. Not an armada of 200 warships. "We need to warn Earth," Subin said. "The quantum communicator can send an instant message. If we transmit, they'll detect us," Junho warned. "This station is hidden behind a cloaking field. The moment we send a message, they'll know we're here." Daho nodded. He had already thought of that. Sentinel-9 was a secret station. Most people on Earth didn't even know it existed. Its job was to watch and listen, to give early warning of danger. But early warning didn't matter if the message never got through. Park was still working on the Valorian communications. She suddenly gasped. "Captain, listen to this." She played a translated snippet. The computer's voice was flat and emotionless. Target planet confirmed. No technological signatures detected. Estimated population, 0. Resource extraction can begin immediately after orbital clearance. Daho felt something click in his mind. They think Earth is empty. What? Subin turned in her chair. "Look at where they're coming from," Daho said, pointing at the star map. They approached from the outer system. From beyond Neptune, all of Earth's major activity is in the inner system. Mars colonies, Luna bases, Earth orbit. They haven't seen any of that yet. Park nodded slowly. "Their intelligence is wrong. They think they're attacking an uninhabited world. Just a planet to strip for resources. Which means they're not prepared for resistance, Junho added. His cybernetic eye glowed as he processed the information. If Earth knows they're coming, we could surprise them. Daeho stood at the center of the control room. His crew looked at him, waiting for orders. He thought about his wife on Earth, his daughter who was starting university next month, his parents in their small house by the ocean. He thought about 8 billion people who had no idea death was racing toward them. Prepare a transmission, he said quietly. Subin moved to the communication station. What should I send? Daeho thought carefully. The message had to be short. The moment they transmitted, the Valorians would detect them. The station would become a target. They would have seconds, maybe less, before enemy weapons locked onto their position. Send this. They don't know we're here. Use it. That's all? Park asked. That's all Earth needs to know, Daeho said. Our military command is smart. They'll understand. He watched Subin's hands hover over the transmission controls. Once she pressed that button, everything would change. The Valorians would know the station existed. They would know Earth had advance warning. And Sentinel-9 would probably be destroyed. Junho, get everyone to the escape pods, Daeho ordered. Sir, there's no time, Junho replied. If they detect us, their weapons will fire immediately. We won't make it to the pods. Daeho met his sergeant's eyes. Hunyo knew. They all knew. This was a one-way mission. Then we make it count, Daeho said. He looked at each member of his crew. Park, who had spent her life studying alien languages. Subin, who could fix anything with spare parts and determination. Hunyo, who had served his planet for 20 years. It's been an honor serving with you. Park smiled sadly. The honor was ours, Captain. Daeho turned to Subin. Send it, she pressed the button. The quantum communicator activated. For a fraction of a second, it opened a connection across space, bypassing light speed restrictions. The message flashed toward Earth. Immediately, alarms screamed throughout the station. The cloaking field flickered and died. On the tactical display, Daeho saw multiple Valorian ships turning toward their position. Weapons charging. Targeting systems locking on. Message confirmed received, Subin said. Her voice was calm. Earth knows. The first energy beam struck the station's hull. Metal screamed. Atmosphere vented into space. The lights flickered and died. Emergency power kicked in, bathing the control room in red light. Structural integrity at 40%, Junho reported. Second wave incoming. Daeho gripped his command chair. The station shook as more weapons fire tore through it. But none of that mattered now. Earth knew. The warning had been sent. Whatever happened next, humanity would not be caught defenseless. Captain, Park said, looking at her screen even as sparks flew from damaged consoles. I'm still picking up their communications. They're confused. They're asking each other what that transmission was. Another impact. The station's rotation stopped. Gravity failed. Daeho floated free from his chair. They know someone's here now, he said. They know Earth isn't empty. Through the station's braking viewports, he could see the Valorian fleet in the distance. 200 ships dark against the stars. But beyond them, far away, was a small blue dot. Earth. Home. We did it, Subin whispered. The final barrage struck. The control room exploded in light and fire. But Captain Lee Daeho died knowing his message had reached home. Earth would be ready. The Valorians would learn what humans did when their home was threatened. They would learn that the greatest danger in the galaxy was not the strongest warrior or the biggest fleet. It was a species with nothing left to lose. Admiral Shinji-woo was eating breakfast when the world changed. The emergency alert came through her command tablet at exactly 6 in the morning. She dropped her spoon. Coffee spilled across the table. Her wife looked up in alarm. What is it? Shin was already running toward the door. I have to go, now. The car took her to Geneva headquarters in 8 minutes. She barely remembered the trip. Her mind was racing. The message from Sentinel-9 kept repeating in her head. They don't know we're here. Use it. The command center was chaos when she arrived. Screens everywhere showed the same thing. A massive fleet moving toward Earth. Officers shouted reports. Phones rang constantly. President Yoon Hyuk stood at the central display, his face gray. Admiral, he said when he saw her. Tell me this is a mistake. Shin looked at the tactical display. 200 ships? All military. All heading for Earth. It's not a mistake, sir. We're being invaded. The room went quiet. Invaded. Earth had not been invaded in 300 years, not since the last World War. Everyone stared at the alien fleet on the screen. How long? President Yoon asked. 12 hours, said Commander Nam Taeyang. He was Shin's best pilot, young, fearless. Right now he looks scared. They'll be in weapons range in 12 hours. What do we have to fight them with? The president asked. Shin pulled up Earth's military assets. 43 warships, various defensive platforms, some orbital weapons. Sir, we're outnumbered 5-1. Can we win? The admiral looked at the president. She thought about lying, telling him what he wanted to hear. But he deserved the truth. No, sir, not in a straight fight. President Yoon seemed to age 10 years. Then what do we do? Dr. Han Borum stepped forward. She ran Earth's Advanced Weapons Research Division. We don't fight straight. We fight dirty. Everyone turned to look at her. She was small, quiet. Most people forgot she was in the room. But her mind was legendary. She had designed half of Earth's defense systems. Explain, President Yoon said. Han pulled up a new display. I've been analyzing the enemy fleet. They move in perfect formation. Perfect coordination. They've done this before. Many times. They have a pattern, a system. They expect their enemies to fight a certain way. And, Shin asked. And we won't, Han said simply. Every species they've conquered fought predictably. Formation against formation. Ship against ship. They win because they have more ships. Better weapons. They're counting on that, Nam spoke up. You're saying we surprise them? I'm saying we confuse them, Han replied. Look at their formation. It's designed to crush organized resistance. But what if the resistance isn't organized? What if it's chaotic? Unpredictable? Shin began to understand. Hit-and-run attacks. Guerrilla tactics, exactly, Han said. We use Earth's moon for cover. We use asteroid fields. We split their attention 1,000 different ways. We make them think they're fighting 100 small battles instead of one big one. That might buy us time, Nam said. But it won't win the war. Time is all we need, Han replied. She pulled up classified files. Project Abyss, experimental gravity weapons. We've never tested them. They're dangerous, unstable, but they work by creating artificial gravity wells, strong enough to tear apart a ship's hull. The room was silent. Everyone knew about Project Abyss. It had been proposed 10 years ago. The testing had been canceled because it was too risky. One mistake could create a gravity well that would pull in everything around it, including Earth. You want to use untested weapons, President Yoon said slowly. In orbit around our own planet. I want to use every advantage we have, Han replied. Sir, they have 200 ships. We have 43. If we fight fair, we die. So we don't fight fair? Shin looked at the president. She saw him struggling with the decision. Finally, he nodded. Do it. Use everything we have. Experimental weapons. Secret projects, everything. We either win our freedom or we die trying. Orders went out across the planet. The military mobilized. Orbital platforms armed their weapons. The fleet prepared to launch. But there was another problem. What about the cities? Someone asked. 8 billion people. We can't evacuate them in 12 hours. We don't evacuate, Shin said. Everyone stared at her. We make them think the planet is normal. Business as usual. If the enemy thinks we know they're coming, they'll change their tactics. But if they think we're unaware, they'll stick to their plan. You want to leave civilians exposed? An officer asked, shocked. I want to keep them alive, Shin replied sharply. We'll evacuate underground, into shelters. But on the surface, everything stays normal. Holographic projections if we have to. Cars on roads. Lights in buildings. The enemy is watching. They need to see a normal planet. President Yoon made the call. Do it, but I want shelters open in every city. Maximum capacity. We save as many as we can. The next hours were a blur. Shin coordinated with her fleet commanders. Nam prepared his squadron. Han armed the gravity weapons. All across Earth, people moved into underground shelters. But above ground, the cities looked normal. Holographic traffic moved on highways. Fake heat signatures came from houses. From orbit, Earth looked peaceful, unaware. But deep below, 8 billion people waited in darkness. Shin stood in the command center, watching the enemy fleet approach. They were 7 hours away now. Close enough to see Earth clearly. Close enough to scan the planet. She held her breath. If they realized it was a trap, everything would fail. The Valorian fleet continued forward. No change in formation. No sign they suspected anything. Nam approached her. Admiral, my squadron is ready. Just give the word. Shin looked at the young commander. You know this is dangerous. I know, Nam said. But someone has to lead the first attack. It might as well be me. You might not come back. Nam smiled. Then I'll make it count, Shin wanted to argue. To order him to stay safe. But there was no safety anymore. Good luck, Commander. 5 hours until contact. Shin addressed the fleet over open channels. Every ship. Every platform. Every soldier. This is Admiral Shin. In 5 hours, the enemy will be in weapons range. They think we're weak. They think we're defenseless. They think they can take our home without a fight. She paused. Let's show them why Earth has never been conquered. Cheers echoed through the communication channels. Shin felt pride surge through her. These were her people, humanity. For all their faults, they knew how to fight. 3 hours. The Valorian fleet entered the outer solar system. They passed Neptune. Then Uranus. Still no sign. They suspected a trap. 1 hour. The enemy fleet approached Mars. They could see Earth now. A blue jewel hanging in space. Home to billions. The Valorians broadcast a message. It was in broken English, translated by their computers. Inhabitants of this planet, you are now property of the Valorian Empire. Surrender immediately. Resistance will result in complete destruction. Shin almost laughed. They still didn't know. They thought Earth was some primitive world, some easy target. She opened a channel to respond. This is Admiral Shin Jiwoo of the United Earth Fleet. You have entered our space without permission. Leave now. This is your only warning. Silence. Then something unexpected. Laughter. The Valorian commander was laughing. Your warning? You have no fleet. No weapons, no chance. We have conquered 800 worlds. You will be number 801. We'll see about that, Shin replied. She cut the transmission, looked at her tactical display. The Valorian fleet was in range now. Time to spring the trap, all units. This is command. You are weapons free. I repeat, weapons free. Send them to hell. The first barrage came from Earth's orbital platforms. Railguns fired solid metal slugs at incredible speeds. Laser batteries carved through the vacuum. Missile pods launched their payloads. Hundreds of weapons firing as one. The Valorian fleet's shields lit up. They absorbed the first wave, but their formation scattered. They had expected no resistance. Now they were under attack from all sides. Nam's squadron launched from behind the moon. 50 small fighters against 200 capital ships. Insane odds. But the fighters were fast, agile. They weaved through the Valorian formation, targeting shield generators and weapon ports. Multiple hits, Nam reported. Enemy shields are adapting. We need to rotate attack patterns. Understood, Shin replied. She was coordinating 1,000 different units, platforms, ships, fighters, orbital weapons, every piece moving like a puzzle. Han, activate Project Abyss. Activating, Han said. Her fingers flew over controls. Around Earth, hidden weapons came online. Gravity well generators. They had been placed months ago. Secret installations. Now they powered up. The first gravity well appeared in the middle of the Valorian fleet. Space itself bent. 3 enemy ships were caught in the field. Their hulls buckled. Metal screamed. The ships crumpled like paper, crushed by impossible gravitational force. The Valorian fleet reacted. They broke formation, scattered. But that's what Shin wanted. A scattered enemy was a confused enemy. All units engage at will. Pick your targets. Don't let them regroup. The battle raged across Earth's orbit. Ships exploded. Weapons fired. People died. But Earth was holding. Against all odds, they were holding. General Vexthar stared at his command screen in disbelief. This was impossible. The planet below was supposed to be defenseless, uninhabited, and easy conquest. Instead, his fleet was under attack from weapons that should not exist. Status report, he barked. 15 ships destroyed, his tactical officer replied. 23 damaged. Sir, they have gravity weapons. Our shields can't stop them. Vexithar had conquered 74 worlds. He had destroyed fleets 10 times the size of this pathetic human defense. But none of them had fought like this. The humans attacked from everywhere at once. Small ships darted in and out. Orbital platforms fired from impossible angles. And those cursed gravity weapons appeared without warning. Titan formation, he ordered. Focus shields. Return fire on those platforms. The Valorian fleet obeyed. 200 ships moved as one. Their formation tightened. Shields overlapped, creating stronger protection. Massive plasma cannons rotated toward Earth's orbital defenses. Firing, the weapons officer said. Space lit up with energy. Plasma beams, bright as stars, streaked toward Earth's platforms. The first barrage hit 3 defensive stations. Their shields held for a moment, then collapsed. The platforms exploded in brilliant flashes. Captain Songmina felt her station shake. Bastion 7 was under direct attack. Alarms screamed. Her crew worked frantically to maintain shields. "Redirect power from life support," she ordered. "Everything to shields." "Captain, we can't breathe if life support fails," someone protested. "We can't breathe if we're dead either," Mina snapped. "Do it." The shield strengthened. Another plasma barrage struck. This time Bastion 7 held, barely. "Return fire." All weapons, her station's railguns opened up. Solid slugs, moving at incredible speed, hammered into a Valorian battleship. The enemy shields absorbed most of it, but some shots got through. Armor plating cracked. Atmosphere vented into space. Lieutenant Kang Jiho coordinated the fleet from aboard the UES Indomitable. His job was to make sure every ship knew where to be, who to shoot, when to move. It was chaos. The enemy had better weapons, better shields, better everything. But they fought predictably. "Squadron 7, pull back," he ordered. "Let them think they won." Squadron 12, swing around from their blind spot. The tactic worked. The Valorians chased Squadron 7, thinking they were retreating. Then Squadron 12 appeared behind them. Missiles struck engines and weapon ports. 2 more enemy ships went dark, but the Valorians were learning. They adapted their shield frequencies. They placed smaller ships on the edges of their formation to watch for surprise attacks. They started targeting Earth's gravity weapons. "Sir, they're destroying our abyss generators," an officer reported to Admiral Shin. She watched on her display. The Valorians had figured out where the gravity weapons were located. They were targeting them systematically. Smart. "How many generators do we have left?" "4, ma'am." "Out of 12. 4. Not enough." Shin looked at the battle map. Earth had destroyed 68 enemy ships. A miracle. But they still had over 100 left. And Earth's fleet was down to 29 operational vessels. They were losing. Suddenly, a new signal appeared on everyone's screens. "Unknown source. Coming from behind the Valorian fleet." Shin's heart jumped. Was it reinforcements? More enemies. A transmission came through. Audio only. The voice was familiar. "This is Captain Lee Daeho of Sentinel 9. Sorry we're late. We brought a present. Shin couldn't believe it." "Daeho, you're alive." "Barely. We faked our destruction." "Been hiding behind their fleet for the last 8 hours. Ma'am, we've been inside their communication network. We have everything. Shield frequencies, ammunition counts, tactical plans. I'm sending it all to you now." Data flooded into Earth systems. Complete information on every Valorian ship. Where they were weak. How much fuel they had left. Which ships were damaged. It was intelligence gold. "Daeho, how did you get this?" Shin asked. "We've got a very smart engineer," Daeho replied, "and a lot of luck. But Admiral, you need to know something. They've called for reinforcements. A second fleet. 500 ships. They'll be here in 6 hours. 500 ships." Shin felt her hope die. They barely survived 200. How could they stop 500 more? "Then we have 6 hours to finish this fight," she said grimly. "Daeho, what else do you have?" "We have one shot. A big one. Engineer Choi rigged our reactor into an electromagnetic pulse weapon. It'll disable every ship in range, but the range is only 50 kilometers, and it'll destroy the station. We have to be right in the middle of their fleet." Shin understood. "A suicide run. Yes, ma'am. But it'll give you an opening. Their ships will be dead in space for maybe 5 minutes, maybe less. You'll have to hit them fast." Shin looked at her tactical display. 50 kilometers. The Valorian fleet was spread out across 200 kilometers. Even an EMP that powerful wouldn't hit all of them, but it could hit enough. How many ships can you disable? If we position correctly, 40 to 50 ships. The core of their formation, including the command ship. Shin made her decision. "Do it, we'll be ready." "Understood." Sentinel 9 out, she turned to her officers. "Listen up. In 15 minutes, 40 Valorian ships will go dark. We need to destroy them before they recover. Every available ship, every weapon, everything we have. This is our chance." Lieutenant Kang was already working. "I'm coordinating attack patterns. We focus on their command ship first. Cut off their head." Commander Nam's voice came over the radio. "Admiral, my squadron has 8 ships left. We'll lead the assault." "Negative, Nam. You've been fighting for hours." Your ships are damaged, which makes us perfect. They'll think we're desperate stragglers. They won't see the real attack coming behind us, Shin wanted to argue. But he was right. Fine, but you pull back the moment they start recovering. That's an order. Yes, ma'am. Captain Mina listened to the plan from her damaged station. Bastion 7 had taken heavy hits. Half her weapons were offline, but she could still fight. Bastion 7 ready to engage. Just point us at them. Across Earth's defense network, every surviving unit prepared. Damaged ships, struggling platforms, exhausted crews. They had been fighting for 8 hours, but they had one more push left in them. Sentinel 9 moved into position. Captain Deho sat in his damaged command chair. Dr. Park Minji monitored the Valorian fleet. Sergeant Kim Junho prepared the reactor for overload. Engineer Choi Subin made final adjustments to the EMP device. We're in position, Deho said. 30 seconds. Park looked at her captain. Sir, it's been an honor. The honor was mine, Deho replied. He thought of his family on Earth, his wife, his daughter. They would live. That was enough. For Earth. For Earth, his crew echoed. The reactor went critical. Energy built to impossible levels. Then Choi triggered the EMP. A wave of electromagnetic energy exploded outward. It washed over the Valorian fleet like an invisible tsunami. Ship systems died. Lights went dark. Shields collapsed. Engines stopped. 43 Valorian ships went dead in space. Sentinel 9 exploded in the blast. Deho and his crew died instantly, but their sacrifice gave Earth its chance now. Admiral Shin shouted. Earth's fleet surged forward. Every ship, every weapon. They fell on the disabled Valorians like wolves on wounded prey. Commander Nam's fighters went straight for the command ship. Missiles and railgun fire tore into its hull. The bridge exploded. General Vexthar barely had time to reach an escape pod before his flagship died around him. Captain Mina fired every weapon Bastion 7 had left. Her targeting computer was damaged, so she aimed manually. Old school. Human intuition against alien technology. Her shot struck a Valorian cruiser's reactor. The ship exploded, taking 2 others with it in the blast. Lieutenant Kang coordinated the chaos. Focus fire! Don't let them recover. Squadron 3, target their engines. Squadron 8, hit their weapon systems. The battle became a slaughter. Disabled Valorian ships couldn't defend themselves. Earth's forces destroyed them one by one. Explosions lit up the space around Earth. Debris filled the orbital lanes, but the 5 minutes were ending. The Valorian ships began to recover. Systems came back online. Shields reformed. They started to fight back. Pull back, Shin ordered. All units pull back to defensive positions. Earth ships retreated behind the moon. The Valorians regrouped. They had lost 97 ships total, over half their invasion force. The survivors formed a defensive sphere, shields overlapping. General Vexthar sat in an escape pod, watching his fleet regroup. His flagship was gone. Nearly 100 ships destroyed. And for what? A planet that wasn't even supposed to fight back. He opened a channel to the remaining fleet. All ships defensive formation. We hold position until reinforcements arrive. For the first time in 300 years, a Valorian invasion force had been stopped. Not defeated, but stopped. And General Vexthar did something no Imperial commander had done in all that time. He called for help. Emperor Calthrian Nime had ruled the Valorian Empire for 800 years. He had seen civilizations rise and fall. He had conquered worlds beyond counting. Nothing surprised him anymore. Until the report from Earth arrived. He read it 3 times. Then a 4th. It made no sense. A backwater planet with primitive technology had destroyed nearly half an invasion fleet. Impossible. Yet the evidence was there. Battle recordings. Casualty lists. The ruined remains of his finest warships. Bring me everything we have on these humans, he commanded. His advisors scrambled. Within an hour, researchers presented their findings. Earth, a small planet in an isolated system. They had only achieved faster-than-light travel 60 years ago. They had no empire, no conquered worlds. By every measure, they should have been easy prey. Why did our intelligence report the planet as uninhabited? The Emperor asked. An intelligence officer bowed low. Majesty, our scouts approached from the outer system. All of Earth's activity is concentrated in the inner planets. Our scans showed no life signs in the outer regions. We assumed the entire system was empty. Assumptions, the Emperor said coldly, have cost us 100 ships. He studied the human broadcasts that had been captured. News programs, entertainment, cultural records. What he saw disturbed him. These humans had been at war for their entire history. Not conquest wars like the Valorian Empire fought. Survival wars. Wars against each other. Against nature. Against extinction itself. One recording showed human soldiers fighting in terrible conditions. Mud, disease, explosions. They should have broken. But they kept fighting. Another showed human cities destroyed by weapons, then rebuilt. Destroyed again. Rebuilt again. These creatures did not know how to surrender. Double the reinforcement fleet, he ordered. Send 2,000 ships. Not 500. 2,000. I want this planet crushed. His military advisors looked uncertain. One brave general spoke up. Majesty, 2,000 ships is a quarter of our entire navy. What if other species see this as weakness? What if they rebel? Let them try, the Emperor said. We make an example of Earth. We show the galaxy what happens to worlds that resist the Empire. Total destruction. No survivors. He authorized weapons that had not been used in centuries. Fusion breaker bombs. Devices that could shatter continental plates. Turn oceans to steam. End all life on a planet. Earth would burn. And every species in the galaxy would see the footage. See what defiance cost. But the Emperor made one more decision. I will command the fleet personally. His advisors were shocked. Majesty, you cannot. It is too dangerous. Dangerous? The Emperor laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. These humans have made me curious. I want to see them. I want to understand them. Before I kill them all. Meanwhile, on a neutral station far from the battle, Ambassador Park Jisoo stood before the Galactic Council. She was Earth's first representative to the galaxy. Young, inexperienced, terrified, but she was all humanity had. The council chamber was massive. Representatives from 47 different species sat in a great circle. At the center stood High Counselor Vrendak, a being of energy and light. Ambassador Park, the counselor said. His voice echoed strangely. You come before us requesting protection, but the council cannot interfere in imperial matters. It is our oldest law. Then change the law, Jisoo said. Every eye turned to her. She was being rude, demanding. She didn't care. The Valorian Empire is coming to exterminate my species. 8 billion people, men, women, children, all dead because of some ancient law about non-interference. The law exists for good reason, Vrendak replied. Once the council intervened in such matters, it led to Galactic War. Billions died. We swore never again. So you'll let billions die now instead? Jisoo felt anger rising. That's cowardice, the chamber erupted. Species argued with each other. Some supported Earth. Most feared the Empire's response. Jisoo stood in the center of the chaos, feeling helpless. A small voice spoke up. I support the humans. Everyone turned. It was Ambassador Dal representing the Karathi people, a species that had been conquered by the Empire 100 years ago. The Valorians destroyed my world. We had no choice but to submit. But the humans fought back. They proved resistance is possible. If the Council does nothing, we send a message that the Empire can do whatever it wants. More voices joined. Species that had suffered under Imperial rule. They could not fight openly, but they could support Earth quietly. 3 species offered supplies. Another provided medical aid. It was not much, but it was something. Thank you, Jisoo said. She felt tears in her eyes. Thank you all. High Counselor Vrendak raised a hand. The Council cannot provide military aid, but we will not stop others from doing so. Ambassador Park, know that Earth is not alone. While diplomacy happened in the Council, Colonel Beck Sora led a mission in enemy territory. She and 11 other soldiers had infiltrated a Valorian shipyard. Their goal was simple: steal information about the incoming fleet, find out when and where they would attack. The shipyard was enormous, hundreds of ships under construction, thousands of workers, security everywhere. Bike's team moved through the maintenance tunnels, avoiding patrols. There, whispered Corporal Yoon. He pointed at a command center. That's where they keep fleet data. We have 10 minutes before the next security sweep, Beck said. Get in, get the data. Get out, they moved fast. Disabled guards silently, hacked into the computer systems, downloaded everything they could. Fleet positions, attack plans, weapon specifications, everything Earth needed to prepare. Then an alarm sounded. They found us, Yoon said. We need to go now, the team ran. Valorian security forces gave chase. Energy weapons fired. Corporal Yoon went down. Then Private Kobek kept running. She had the data. She had to get it back to Earth. They reached their ship. Only 3 soldiers left out of 12. Beck threw herself into the pilot's seat. "Hang on!" The ship launched. Valorian fighters pursued. Energy beams struck their shields. The ship shook. But Beck was the best pilot in Earth's special forces. She dodged, weaved, used the shipyard's own structures for cover. Finally, they hit hyperspace. Safe. Beck looked at her 2 surviving team members. "We did it. We got the data. But 9 soldiers had died for it. 9 friends. 9 heroes. Beck would remember their names forever." The data reached Earth within hours. Admiral Shin studied it carefully. What she saw made her blood run cold. 2,000 ships. Fusion breaker bombs. The Emperor himself leading the attack. President Yoon looked tired. He had not slept in days. "When will they arrive?" 5 days. "We have 5 days to prepare." "Prepare for what?" "We barely survived 200 ships. How do we stop 2,000? Dr. Han spoke up. She had been working non-stop on a new plan. A desperate plan. "We don't stop them. We trap them." Everyone looked at her. "Explain," Shin said. Han pulled up a display of the moon. "Earth's moon, Luna. The moon is our greatest weapon. We just have to use it differently. We hollow out the core, install massive fusion drives. Then we accelerate it, crash it into their fleet at near light speed." Silence. What Han was suggesting was insane. "That could destroy Earth's biosphere," someone said. "The tidal effects alone would kill millions." "The Valorians will kill billions," Han replied. "I know it's terrible, but we evacuate as many as we can. To Mars, to the outer colonies. Some survive. If we do nothing, everyone dies." President Yoon looked at Admiral Shin. "Is this even possible?" "Technically, yes," Shin said slowly. "We have the technology, barely, but the timing would have to be perfect. If we miss, the moon just flies off into space. If we're late, the Valorians destroy it before we can use it." "And if we succeed?" Yoon asked. "Then we destroy most of their fleet," Shin said. "But Earth will never be the same. The moon maintains our tides, our seasons, our climate. Without it, the planet becomes unstable." Yoon closed his eyes. This was a decision no leader should have to make. Destroy the moon, devastate Earth, kill millions to save billions. Do it, God help us, do it, the order went out. Scorched Sky Protocol, they called it. Engineers and miners swarmed over the moon. They dug, blasted, carved tunnels through solid rock, installed the largest engines ever built. Humanity had 5 days to turn their moon into a weapon. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Emperor Calthrion boarded his flagship. The Eternal Dominion, the largest warship ever built. 2,000 ships surrounded him, an armada that could conquer any world, break any defense. He watched recordings of the first battle again. These humans fought like cornered animals, vicious, unpredictable. It reminded him of something. But what then he remembered? 800 years ago, when he was young, he had hunted on a primitive world. The prey was small, weak, but it fought back with surprising ferocity. He had respected it for that. Before he killed it, "Prepare to depart," he commanded. "Earth dies in 5 days." The Valorian fleet arrived like a storm. 2,000 warships emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. The largest military force ever assembled. Their shields glowed with power. Their weapons hummed with death. Earth looked small and fragile against such might. Admiral Shin Ji-woo stood in the command center watching the enemy approach. Around her, officers worked in grim silence. They all knew the odds. They all knew how this would probably end, but no one spoke of surrender. "Status of Scorched Sky?" she asked. Dr. Han looked up from her console. "Luna is ready. Engines are charged. We can launch on your command," Shin nodded. The moon looked different now. Massive fusion engines covered its surface. Engines that would push it out of orbit. Accelerate it to 15% of light speed. Turn it into a bullet aimed at the Valorian fleet. But the cost was already terrible. 4 billion people dead. Not from the Valorians, from Earth itself. When they had started hollowing out the moon, the tidal disruptions began. Earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions. Coastal cities had drowned. Continental plates had shifted. Earth was tearing itself apart. The survivors huddled in shelters deep underground. Some had evacuated to Mars. others to Europa. But billions had nowhere to go. They waited in the darkness, hoping humanity would survive, hoping their sacrifice meant something. Incoming transmission, an officer announced. The screen flickered. Emperor Calthrion appeared. He was tall, elegant, ancient. His eyes held the weight of centuries. When he spoke, his voice was calm, almost kind. Humans, I am Emperor Calthrion. I have come personally to offer you one final chance. Surrender. I will be merciful. Your species will serve the Empire. You will live. Refuse, and I will exterminate every man, woman, and child on your planet. You have 1 hour to decide. The transmission ended. President Yoon turned to Admiral Shin. What do you think? I think he's lying, Shin said flatly. He brought fusion breaker bombs, weapons designed to destroy planets. He came here to exterminate us. The offer of mercy is just theater. I agree, said Commander Nam. His fighter squadron was ready, waiting. If we surrender, we die slowly as slaves. If we fight, we die free. I know which I prefer. President Yoon took a deep breath. Then he nodded. Send our response. Shin opened a channel to the Valorian fleet. Emperor Calthrion. This is Admiral Shin Jiwoo. You want Earth? Come and take it. For a moment there was silence. Then the Emperor laughed. It was a sad sound. You are brave. Foolish but brave. Very well. I gave you a choice. You chose death. The Valorian fleet advanced. 2,000 ships moving in perfect formation. They entered Mars orbit, then passed it. They were 6 hours from Earth, 5-4. They're spreading out, Lieutenant Kang reported. Surrounding the planet. They'll hit us from all sides at once. Shin watched the tactical display. The Valorians were smart. They had learned from the first battle. No tight formations. No single point of attack. They would hit everywhere at once. Overwhelm Earth's defenses with pure numbers. Luna status? She asked. Ready, Han replied. But Admiral, they're spreading too thin. The moon can't hit all of them. Maybe a third, maybe less. A third will have to be enough, Shin said. What's our fleet status? 19 operational warships, Kang said. 47 fighters. 6 orbital platforms. That's all we have left. 19 ships against 2,000. It was not a battle. It was suicide. But no one suggested retreat. Lieutenant Oh Seojin sat in her fighter cockpit. She was 19 years old, the youngest pilot in the fleet. She had volunteered. Like everyone else, she could have evacuated. Could have run to Mars or Europa. Instead, she chose to fight. She thought about her family. Her little brother who loved drawing spaceships. Her parents who ran a restaurant in Seoul. They were gone now, dead in the earthquakes. But she could still fight for others. For humanity. All pilots, this is Lieutenant O. We're about to do something really stupid. Stay close. Watch each other's backs. And remember, we're not trying to win. We're just trying to make them remember us. Nervous laughter came over the radio. 47 fighters. All that remained of Earth's proud navy. But they were ready. The Valorians entered weapons range. Space filled with energy. Plasma beams, missiles, railgun fire. The barrage was incredible. It lit up the darkness like a second sun. Earth's shields took the hit. They held for 10 seconds, 20, then began to fail. Launch all fighters, Shin ordered. All ships engage. Earth's tiny fleet surged forward. 19 warships against 2,000. It should have been over in minutes. But the human ships didn't fight like a normal fleet. They fought like wasps, darting in, striking, retreating, never staying still, never giving the Valorians a clear target. Lieutenant O led her squadron through the enemy formation. Her fighter was small, fast. She weaved between capital ships, firing at weak points, shield generators, sensor arrays, engine ports. She didn't need to destroy the big ships. She just needed to hurt them. A Valorian cruiser exploded as its reactor overloaded. O whooped in celebration. Then her wingman died. A direct hit. His fighter just vanished in a flash of light. O gritted her teeth. Kept flying. Kept fighting. Captain Songmina fired every weapon her platform had. Bastion 7 was the last orbital defense station. All the others had been destroyed. She knew she was next. Knew she would die. But she would take some aliens with her. Concentrate fire on that battleship. All weapons. Bastion 7's railguns hammered the enemy. The Valorian battleship's shields buckled, failed, armor cracked. The ship began to list. One more volley, Mina ordered. Finish it, the final salvo struck. The battleship exploded. Mina allowed herself a smile. Then a dozen plasma beams hit Bastion 7. The station died. Captain Song Mina died with it, but she died having destroyed an enemy ship 10 times her size. The battle raged for 2 hours. Earth ships fought brilliantly, but numbers told. One by one they died. The UES Indomitable, the Soul's Pride, the New Dawn, ships with names, ships with crews, ships with people who had families and dreams, all gone. Commander Nam's fighter was hit. His engines failed. He couldn't maneuver, couldn't dodge. 3 Valorian fighters closed in for the kill. This is Nam, it's been an honor. Tell my mother I love her. Commander, wait! Lieutenant O screamed. She dove toward him, her fighter's guns blazing. She destroyed 1 Valorian, then another, but the 3rd one got a clear shot at her. The energy beam hit her wing. Her fighter spiraled out of control. Oh, eject! Nam shouted. Can't, O replied calmly. Controls are dead, but I can still steer a little. And I'm pointed at a very big battleship, Nam understood. Lieutenant, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Someone has to. O's fighter accelerated, straight toward the Valorian flagship, the Eternal Dominion, where Emperor Calthrion commanded his fleet. For Earth, for humanity, for everyone we lost. Her fighter struck the flagship's shield at full speed. The explosion was massive. The shield buckled but held. O died without seeing if she had succeeded. But her sacrifice inspired others. All remaining fighters, Nam broadcast. Follow O's example. We're going out like warriors. The surviving pilots understood. They accelerated toward the largest enemy ships, turned themselves into missiles. 47 fighters, 47 volunteers, all choosing to die standing rather than live kneeling. They struck the Valorian fleet like hammers. Shields failed, hulls cracked. Dozens of enemy ships were damaged. Some destroyed. Admiral Shin watched her pilots die. Each one a person she knew. Each one a hero. She felt tears on her face. But there was no time for grief. Dr. Han, launch Luna. Launching. Deep in the moon's core, the fusion engines fired. The entire moon shook. Then it moved. Slowly at first. Then faster, it broke free of Earth's gravity, accelerated toward the Valorian fleet. Emperor Calthrion saw it on his screens. For the first time in 800 years, he felt fear. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Move, move. But the Valorian fleet was too large, too spread out. They couldn't all avoid the moon. The massive rock, moving at 15% of light speed, struck the center of their formation. The impact released energy equivalent to 1 million nuclear bombs. Space itself seemed to tear. The shock wave expanded outward. Everything in its path died. Valorian ships by the hundreds were torn apart, vaporized, erased from existence. The Eternal Dominion survived. Barely. Its shields collapsed. Its hull cracked. But the flagship held together. Emperor Calthrion pulled himself from the floor. His command center was in chaos. Status? 1,400 ships destroyed, his officer reported. 600 damaged. Sir, the fleet is broken. Broken. The Valorian Empire's invincible navy. Broken by primitives. Broken by humans who refused to surrender. The Emperor felt something he had not felt in centuries. Respect. Signal the fleet, he said quietly. Cease fire. Withdraw to defensive positions. His officers stared. Majesty, we can still win. 600 ships are still operational. No, the Emperor said. We cannot win. These humans will fight until every last one is dead. They will take us with them. I will not trade 600 more ships for a barren planet. He opened a channel to Earth. Admiral Shin, I request a ceasefire. Shin couldn't believe it. A ceasefire? Yes, you have won, Admiral. Not by defeating my fleet, but by proving it would cost too much to destroy you. I offer peace, recognition of your sovereignty. In exchange, we leave now, without further